Hey guys, I don't care what sport you watch. This is where the best information is. Today we are stripping away the narrative fluff and looking at the structural arguments for the AFC's sleeper teams. We're analyzing the tactical validity of the Jaguars' second-half efficiency metrics versus the projected schematic overhaul in Los Angeles. Let's get into the film room mentality.
Championship game on their way to winning a 10th conference title this century. Now, despite losing in the divisional round, the Bills are coming into next season favored to win the AFC, according to DraftKings, followed by the Ravens, Patriots, and then the Chiefs. And so let's reflect. Who do we have as the team to beat in the AFC? Mina.
I'm going to go with a team that's not even on that list. And I know I'm going to be the only person who says this. Why not the Jacksonville Jaguars? They were the only team in the NFL in the second half of the season to have a top 10 offense and defense. And it took them a second to get rolling, new head coach. But by the end, this offense was exceptional. Liam Cohen got the best play out of Trevor Lawrence of his career. You saw that in the second part of the season. The other thing I love about the Jags is this. They kept their entire coaching staff. Anthony Campanile, their excellent defensive coordinator, was a head coach, a guy who drew some interest for a head coaching job. He stayed. This defense was phenomenal. I think they need to add a couple of pieces. Devin Lloyd is a free agent for sure. But they were trending in the right direction, and I do think they're going to be exceptionally good next year as well. And for me, this is about year two with Liam Cohen, Trevor Lawrence. You didn't even get, by the way, a healthy season out of Travis Hunter, who they spent so much draft capital on. He comes back from injury, and I think they're going to have a good plan for him. So they're off people's radar as evidence, and obviously it would be easier for me to point to Lamar, Josh, or Patrick's teams. I get that, or the Broncos defense. But when I look at the Jags, I see a complete team, a team that consistently flies under the radar, and I would not be surprised if they are excellent next season.
Love that one. You want to go?
I love that, Mina. I like the theme that you're going with. They'll make the easy picks like Lamar, Allen, Burrow. I'm going with the Los Angeles Chargers, and I think it's going to be an LA Super Bowl next year in LA. The reason being is because this defense, you saw what it could do under Jesse Minter. They bring Chris O'Leary in here, who runs the same scheme, and they have this similar feeling about his potential as a D coordinator. But that's not the special part. They bring in Mike McDaniel as an offensive coordinator. And I know everyone talks about how creative he is. They talk about how quirky he is. But offensive football, that mixed with Justin Herbert's ability, which he's never got the opportunity to coach, he's going to be cooking with oil then. And not only that, Justin Herbert isn't going to have to bear the brunt of the offensive production. And you're going to see him play at a level that we've never seen. And it's going to be funny to contrast that between Mike McDaniel with Herbert and Mike McDaniel with Tua Tagovailoa.
I'm sorry. With the Herbert, I'll believe it when I see it. I know he is You're always telling me. Everyone's always telling me, yet they have yet to win a playoff game. He struggles in the fourth quarter. He has more interceptions than touchdowns this year in the playoffs. Last year, they blew a 27-point lead. I will never understand why we put all our eggs in the Chargers basket until we are proven otherwise. I don't get it.
I understand
You told me it's going to be different with Harbaugh. And look at it.
Different. It was different. It definitely took a step. Once they fix the offensive line, which they will have a better offensive line because they'll be healthy this year with Alton Slater back, Mike McDaniel is a differentiator. He's passed on head coaching opportunities for a reason, and I think he's going to be the hottest candidate a year from now after the year he's going to have with Herbert.
Clip this a year from now.
Clip it.
Clip it. Go ahead, S.A.
I don't know why you'd pick the Jacksonville Jaguars when they go and they lose to the Buffalo Bills the second they get to the playoffs after winning the AFC South, but that's neither here nor there. I will tell you this, number 3 seed in the AFC, they're respectable, no doubt. I love what you have to say, Hawk, about the LA Super Bowl, because I'm hoping that would happen, to be quite honest with you. That would be pretty fly. The Rams versus the Chargers at SoFi with the Super Bowl championship, that would be pretty fly, no doubt. But that ain't going to happen. One of them's not going to make it, and that team is going to be the Chargers. The Rams, I think, can make it out of the NFC. I don't see the Chargers being able to pull that off. What happened to the Broncos, ladies and gentlemen? 14-3, number 1 seed, likely would have been in the Super Bowl if Bo Nix could have played. 68 sacks on the year, 4 shy of an all-time record, 4 different dudes, led by Benito, who had at least 7 sacks on the season. This defense, top 3, top 2 in points allowed. They ain't going anywhere. And I'm looking at them, and I'm looking at Bo Nix being back, Sean Payton being back. Cortland Sutton, I don't know what the status is of these cats contractually, whether it's R.J. Harvey or Sutton or Mims or anybody else. But I'm looking at the Denver Broncos, and I'm saying, why would I not pick them? I mean, I expect the AFC West to be really, really tough with Kansas City trying to resurrect itself and the Chargers trying to ascend. I get that part. But I'm looking at Denver, and I'm saying to myself, excuse me, they were the best team in the AFC this year with the #1 overall seed, and they would have been in the Super Bowl in a lot of people's eyes if their starting quarterback hadn't gone down in the divisional playoff game, in the second to last play of the game. So I'm like, wait a minute. I'm not going to sleep on them. If we have to pick a team who we believe is going to come out of the AFC, I say the Chargers should be that team. Most of us would probably pick Houston if we had any faith in their offense, but we don't. So because of that, the next best thing to me is the Denver Broncos.
Mina, go ahead.
I don't hate that pick at all. I'm not going to say it's a bad one, but I will say this. I think the AFC West is going to be much more challenging for Denver this next season. Andrew, I agree with all of his points, frankly, about the Chargers. There's no way, famous last words, the Chargers' offensive line can be more injured than what we saw last season. Shay, to your point, Herbert didn't have a great postseason. He was playing behind backups and backups and backups. And then the Chiefs, to me, this was the year, right, where the Chiefs were the weakest I believe that they will ever been. So I just think the AFC West is going to be more challenging next season. Doesn't mean the Broncos won't finish first in their own division. I just think their path is going to be harder next year.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. Although, Mina, to your point with the Jags, I assume the AFC South will be competitive. Like the Colts were much improved this year. Hopefully they have a healthy solution at quarterback next year.
Quarterback.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. We'll find out. Should the rule for the NBA All-Stars being eligible to earn awards be changed? See if David has another interesting idea. He's had quite a few today, that DD. We're out here like the Cowboys. Louis Riddick is back with us now. What do you think? The Steelers getting messy like the Cowboys?
A little bit. Look, Joey, it was interesting. All the recent shots that some of Mike's former players have taken in him, I've been sitting there sometimes and you look at those and you sit there going, what is going on here? Because, Joey's exactly right. When he talks about how he has changed some of these guys' lives under his watch, Mike has been one of those guys who has always been looked at from the outside, and then from talking to him and going on the inside and getting to know him a little bit and having interviewed there. I mean, he seems like a guy who's just fiercely loyal, a guy who holistically cares about his players, both on the field and off the field, who has their back through thick and thin, who has kept all the different kind of things, all the different kind of scandals that can kind of wind up encompassing an organization. You don't hear any of that stuff really coming out of Pittsburgh. He has really tried to handle some very disparate personalities during his time in Pittsburgh. Right. This has shocked me, man. It's shocked me had some of his players take shots at him like they do.
Right. I will say this. Big Ben Roethlisberger, a two-time Super Bowl champion, is to be respected. I can see where they're coming from, though. James Harrison is a real one. He's not a fake. He's not a phony. And he relies a lot, Lewis, on personal interaction and a relationship that he has with you as an individual. And if he's put off by anything, then that's what really, really ignites him and motivates him. So I think that, listen, Joey Porter is not wrong. It's a brotherhood. And what's been happening shouldn't be happening. And Mike Tomlin, based on his record, his years of service, what he has done, everything would indicate he does not deserve that. So Joey Porter is not wrong. But also Joey Porter is somebody that's had a great relationship with Mike T, has been around the Steelers for quite a long time, and as an individual is one that clearly has never felt alienated by Mike T. James Harrison has a different story to tell. And because I'm not saying he should tell it, and that's fair for James Harrison to bring that up. Brotherhood, keep that stuff in house. Let's not be saying something publicly. He's right about that. But just because Joey Porter feels a certain way about Mike T, as I do, as you do, doesn't mean James Harrison has to, because he has his own personal dealings with Mike T. And obviously something went wrong there.
Yeah, I just wish, I think we all wish they would just talk it out, right, behind closed doors. I don't want to hear about it because we haven't heard Mike Tomlin.
We always wish that about a lot of people.
Exactly. All right, Louis, we'll see you later. Thanks for hanging out.
When we look at the macro-level strategy for AFC contention, the debate presented in this video highlights three distinct team-building philosophies: continuity, schematic pivot, and defensive disruptiveness. Let's break down the technical validity of these arguments, stripping away the names and focusing on the football mechanics. First, the argument for the Jacksonville Jaguars is rooted in the concept of scheme continuity and efficiency splits. The transcript highlights their performance in the second half of the season, specifically ranking in the top 10 for both offense and defense. In the NFL, statistical balance is often a stronger predictor of playoff sustainability than explosive, one-dimensional play. When an offense enters year 2 under a specific play-calling structure, we typically see a spike in the quarterback's processing speed and EPA, expected points added, per dropback. The quarterback isn't learning the verbiage anymore. He is mastering the nuances of protection shifts and sight adjustments. If the offensive line stabilizes, that continuity allows for more complex route concepts and tighter timing, which is essential against the disguised coverages prevalent in the AFC. Moving to the Los Angeles Chargers, the discussion centers on a schematic overhaul. The introduction of Jesse Minter's defensive system is the critical variable here. Minter's background implies a shift toward the simulated pressure packages and creeper blitzes that have become the meta in modern NFL defense, stemming from the Ravens' coaching tree. This scheme is designed to confuse opposing quarterbacks by crowding the line of scrimmage and dropping defenders into coverage post-snap, or vice versa. For a team with high-end edge talent, this scheme maximizes pass rush win rate without necessarily sacrificing coverage integrity. On the offensive side, the emphasis on creativity and run game integration suggests a move toward a more balanced, Shanahan-adjacent or power run philosophy, depending on the specific coordinator influence discussed. The goal here is to insulate the quarterback, reducing his high leverage volume while increasing efficiency on play-action attempts. Then we have the Denver Broncos argument, which is purely a trench warfare evaluation. The metric of 68 sacks, mentioned in the video, is statistically massive. In tactical terms, organic pressure generated by the front four without heavy blitzing, is the single most correlating factor to defensive success in the postseason. If a defense can disrupt the pocket while dropping 7 defenders into coverage, they can neutralize elite quarterbacks. The Broncos' path described here relies on winning one-on-one matchups on the defensive line and converting pressure into drive-killing negative plays. This is a high-floor strategy because it travels well. Pass rush and defense are historically more consistent week to week than explosive passing offenses. Finally, the brief discussion on the Steelers and Mike Tomlin touches on cultural continuity as a force multiplier. While less quantifiable than EPA or sack totals, the ability of a head coach to manage a locker room directly impacts situational football discipline. Teams that fracture internally often see a spike in penalties and blown assignments in critical moments. In conclusion, the tactical bet here is between the known floor of the Jaguars' continuity and the unknown ceiling of the Chargers and Broncos' schematic shifts. In a conference loaded with elite quarterback play, the team that combines a top-tier pass rush, Broncos model, with efficient, protected quarterback play, Jags-Chargers goal, will be the true threat to the existing hierarchy.